Hello, guys. So, today I thought that we would do a thing about the adoption process because you know what? We're a little down and out emotionally with the adoption process currently because of just how long it's been taking and everything else. And also, it's so expensive. So, that's been fun. So, I figured today we both would answer some questions for you. So, yeah, starting with the first one, I have my list on my watch. How much does adoption cost? Uh, it changes agency to agency. So that's fun. My main part that I help with is all the legal stuff with our adoption stuff. So like with our agency, it's like 20 something thousand in agency fees. But then we've definitely paid north of 400,000 just in legal. Because there's so much legal. At least in our situation, there's a lot of legalities and stuff like that. So it's just kind of such a huge process. And it's going to be interesting seeing this back because Justin and I, yeah, we're going through this adoption process together, but also we process things completely separate because there's no point in bouncing negative. We like the happy things, obviously, we do together, but the negative things we process on our own. Like you can't be processing stuff together. It's not how it works. It's like we check in on each other when it comes to this adoption stuff because we both want to be parents so bad. But it is what it is. That's just how we're doing things.
How much does adoption cost? More than surgery, but less than childbirth, probably. So adoption is usually somewhere in the order of $20,000 a year. It's somewhere in the order of $20,000 for the entire process, in addition to whatever legal fees you have. Now, that is only what's involved in actually adopting a child. If you are working with an adoption agency, as we are, there might be additional fees for the services that agency provides in terms of marketing you to prospective non-parents, I suppose. So it can be widely variable, but generally $20,000 to a hair over that is roughly what it's going to cost you. And now that's not necessarily all due at once. Sometimes companies are understanding and will let you pay in phases, as is the case with the company we work with, or we'll have certain amounts due at certain phases and steps in the process rather than lump sum. But that is generally the range in which it falls.
Let's see how we feel in the adoption process so far. Stressed. We've had one reference gone, but we found another reference like real quick. And then I have another reference that I put through that for some reason, I don't know what's happening, but like it fell off the face of the planet, not responding to anything. I don't know. It's so weird. So I'm waiting for that person to send back their reference information and stuff like that. And that's fun. And then what else is on there? Stressed about that money stuff. It's always money stuff. Like I've said, we've easily spent over 400,000 just in legal, which is just mind-boggling. But then just the agency fees, I feel like they pop in at such random times, even though like we have the fee agreement and the timeline and everything, so like we know when it is. But waking up in the morning thinking that you're gonna have a normal day and then getting slapped with like a $5,000 fee that like I knew we had to pay. But yeah, oh god, it's so stressful because like I don't know. And I can't say anything really negative about it because it's like, yeah, we are privileged enough to be able to do that, and that won't kill us. It's still a stressful amount of money. I didn't grow up like with money or anywhere near where I am now. So that's fun. And then what's the next one?
How do we feel in the adoption process? Absolutely horrible. It's exciting and it's a good thing, but it takes way too long. Now, what do I mean by it takes way too long? Well, fundamentally, you are waiting for a case where somebody has a child or is pregnant and they don't want that child or prospective child anymore, and they'd rather have another family adopted to give it a different style of life. But you also, like, for one, that family needs to exist, and two, they need to pick you. So it's a lot of a waiting game, really. That is probably my main complaint with it. It's exciting. I'm very excited to have a child. I'm very excited for us to have a child. I am absolutely stoked for things to come to fruition. But it takes time, and to be frank, it feels like it takes more time than it probably should. What doesn't help is, as part of the adoption process, you actually need to get your house ready for having a kid, whether through buying cribs or toys or other things. So expect to have a lot of kid-flavored things, but no kid for a period of time as you go through it. That will not help your depression at all. Can confirm.
Preparing for the home study, that was a whole thing, because we had to basically completely, I don't want to say remodel our house, but we wanted to make our house really fun and like kiddo friendly and everything else. And then we also had to like make sure all the regular smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, that whole fire escape plan, all that fun stuff. And then on top of that, we had to do, what else was it? What else did we do? We like got new furniture. We completely outfitted the baby nursery. And we did all of that without ever having to, because that's what you have to do. You have to have all that stuff ready. And it's just like, I don't know. It also makes it a lot harder because we have a full nursery up there that we cannot use. We don't have a kid for. It's just a room in our house that is dedicated to a baby. And we don't have a kid. And we don't know when we're going to have a kid. And I don't know. It really hurts my heart. I'm not going to cry about this. I've done it a million times.
Preparing for the home study, honestly, the home study is scary, but it is by far the easiest part of the adoption process that we have gone through. So you have to obviously make sure your house is in good shape. Make sure you have stuff for the children's that you are trying to get. Make sure you have things set up. You have the right number of bedrooms. You have the right yard space. Make sure you have a car in the correct year. Believe it or not, that is actually a requirement in the state that we currently reside in. It's completely deranged, but it's there. But outside of like making sure you have the right stuff to check the boxes, the home study process itself is actually not that terrifying. It's a series of interviews with some together, some individually, with the person completing your home study, who will then assemble the requisite forms and fill out a recommendation as to whether you should be allowed to have children. I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's that common to actually fail the home study in practice, particularly when you are working with an adoption agency. That was a fear that we completely irrationally had, but it turned out to be completely irrational and completely fine. Home study was great. It really was just a series of conversations about what our house is like, what our backgrounds were like, and a couple of in-person and at-home visits.
And then I think the last thing is marketing ourselves. We have to market ourselves and basically make ourselves fun and presentable for the prospective birth mothers out there that want to put their kids up for adoption, which is a whole new thing. And yeah, I'm done.
One hard part of the adoption process that people often do not talk about is actually marketing yourself, because adoption agencies will do marketing for you to a certain point, but it still helps to also put yourself out there. So one of the things we had to do was, with the assistance of our adoption agency, write a brochure explaining like why we'd be good parents. But in addition to that, some of the recommendations we've been getting are to like set up a website, to do different things like that. It is a bit of a weird case for us because we also have an online presence. Somewhat, that feels really weird to say out loud. So it's a bit, you would think that would actually make it easier for us to market ourselves. That is actually not true. It makes it harder. The reason for that is that we can't really easily use this platform to say like, hey, we would like a child, please give us your child. If you are considering a child, please give your child to us. Not really how that works. Also, our target audience doesn't gel. Nobody's target audience is going to gel well with that. So it's really getting yourself out there and trying to get yourself in front of the right people through luck so that folks know you're available if they are making the difficult decision of giving up a child. Now, all that being said, if you do have a child or if you are pregnant and you do not wish to raise your child, we would be excellent parentals. I have doubts this will get in front of the right people for that, because that's a difficult decision that ranges all walks of life. But if you do have a child and you'd like for us to raise your child, please reach out to the adoption agency at which we currently are, which may not be linked. But yeah, we'd be great parents. We're totally prepped for it. It's just a matter of time.